In Ibadan, where the Olubadan of Ibadan, Obarashidi Ladoja, has expressed hope that President Bola Tinubu will address the current insecurity challenges confronting Nigeria in parts of the country. The Olubadan was in the State House on a visit to President Tinubu. It was the first meeting between President Tinubu and the traditional ruler since his coronation on September 26, 2025. Their private meeting lasted about 30 minutes. Oba Ladoja, who was installed as the 44th Olubadan about 4 months ago, told State House correspondent Musbaud Wahab that he was on a thank-you visit to the president for attending his coronation ceremony in Ibadan. The former Oyo State governor commended President Tinubu's efforts at strengthening the country's economy, leading to more revenue for governments across levels to work with.
More money than we had when we were governors. And they are able to meet their commitments than what we had when we were governors. So I believe that by and large, the economy has to be fixed, and it's being fixed. We will hope that by the time it's leaving 2031, we will have put Nigeria where all of us will be proud of.
He, however, advised the president to double down on his efforts towards tackling security challenges and ensuring food security across Nigeria.
The situation of health is not, it doesn't pay Nigeria that any little thing will run abroad. It doesn't pay Nigeria to continue in that line. We should have standard hospitals where we can treat our people. But the major problem we really now have is the problem of insecurity. Farmers find it difficult to go to their farms. And it is already coming to the south also. I don't think it is insurmountable, but by and large, we believe that the president is tackling it correctly now.
In other news, Vice President Kashim Shettima has advocated for homegrown solutions to Africa's economic problems, emphasizing innovative approaches for growth, development and prosperity on the continent. The Nigerian Vice President stated this at a high-level Accra Reset Initiative meeting held on the emergence of the ongoing 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, saying Africa is now the pulse of the world's demographic and economic future.
We are Africans. We have learned to carry our poverty with dignity. We are offering you a high quality, cost-efficient and scalable extension of your own workforce, as well as investment to continually develop such workforce. And I can imagine the question in every CEO's mind here: can we trust the infrastructure? Can we trust the data? As a government, we understand that trust is a new currency. That is why the Tinubu administration did not invest just in skills. We invest in digital security and standards.
And this is why Africa must be responsible for its destiny. Today we face a different pandemic, the pandemic of unfulfilled potential. Millions of young people have no jobs, health systems that collapse at the first crisis, economies that extract our resources but build nothing long-lasting.
That is why the Accra Reset has come to inspire leaders to stop complaining about the system that has changed or is changing, and to build a way through it. Across much of Global South, we see a similar distressing pattern.
Still in Davos, President of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, welcomes criticism leveled against the continent during the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, seeing it as an opportunity for self-reflection. She says Europe has heard quite a lot of bashing in the last few days. Safia Nyoma Uche tells us more.
Christine Lagarde, during a closing discussion on the final day of the conference, says the relevance of the gathering of CEOs and political leaders in the Swiss Alps is regularly questioned by critics who deride it as an out-of-touch echo chamber where little gets done. But all eyes were on this year's Davos as US President Donald Trump barreled into town with a geopolitical storm and nervous laughs, but he mocked allies, but also praised the brilliant listed in the room.
I think we should be talking that we policymakers are at a point where we have to look at Plan B or Plans B, but even with those Plans B, which have also been articulated by Ursula von der Leyen, I'm not sure that we should be talking about rupture. I think we should be talking about alternatives. We should be identifying much more so than we have probably in the past, the weaknesses, the sore points, the dependencies, the autonomy.
So for instance, on the trade front, trade has suffered the biggest disruption in 80 years, global trade. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Global trade rules have been undermined. But I think the system has been put together in such a way that is quite strong, and it will take a lot to destroy. Steady nerves, meaning that you don't have to react immediately to all you see, and that's why I share Christine's, let's separate the noise from actually what is happening. You need steady nerves to assess what the situation is and to react. If you react immediately, you may react the wrong way.
It had been years since the WEF, founded in 1971, had been at the epicenter of such monumentous political episode. Safia Nyoma Uche, NTA News.
In a town famous for power, policy and politics, technology has taken center stage. Robots, marching and dancing, have moved onto the streets of Davos, turning heads during the World Economic Forum and ahead of the first Davos Tech Summit. Let's have the details with Justin Bemui.
Against the icy backdrop of Davos, Switzerland, an unexpected parade is unfolding. Humanoid robots are marching and dancing through the streets, offering a striking preview of a fast-approaching digital future.
It's going to be complicated, eh?
This spectacle comes during the World Economic Forum and ahead of the Davos Tech Summit, set to hold for the first time in early July. Organizers say the display is meant to bring conversations about artificial intelligence out of conference halls and into public view. Once limited to factories and research labs, robots are now stepping into everyday spaces, signaling how rapidly technology is reshaping work, creativity, and human interaction. But beyond the choreography lies a deeper message. As machines grow smarter and more visible, questions around jobs, ethics, and control are becoming harder to ignore.
By the end of next year, I think we'd be selling humanoid robots to the public. That's when we are confident that it's very high reliability, very high safety, and the range of functionality is also very high. You can basically ask it to do anything you'd like.
In Davos, where the future of the global economy is often debated behind closed doors, robots marching openly through the streets may be the clearest signal yet that the age of intelligent machines is no longer coming. It has arrived.
It's going to be complicated, eh?
Justin Bemuni, NTA News.
Away from Davos, European Council President Antonio Costa says the bloc will continue to stand up for its interests and defend itself against any form of coercion following U.S. President Donald Trump's clampdown on Greenland. Costa was speaking after an EU leaders summit in Brussels. Sofia Nyomauchi reports.
When one crisis diffuses, how long until the next one? European leaders huddled for summit talks, exuding relief as U.S. President Donald Trump climbs down on Greenland, but already steeling themselves for the next jolt from the U.S. leader. Agreement with NATO, Mark Rutte, the bloc maintained a meeting to address the crisis and how to handle the U.S. leader going forward. It was still unclear what exactly prompted Trump's U-turn, but French President Emmanuel Macron insisted a push to unleash the European leaders' trade arsenal against the United States played a part and says Europe remains extremely vigilant. European Council vowed the bloc will continue to stand up for its interests. Sofia Nyomauchi, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken a decisive step in Nigeria's diplomatic engagements by approving the posting of 3 high-profile ambassador designates. This comes months after a long list of 68 ambassadorial nominees was sent to the Senate. Garba Muhammad Natala tells us more.
The postings reveal a clear focus, decisive and a strategic one, in preparation to hit the ground running towards enhancing Nigeria's diplomatic engagements and follow up bilateral talks with major allies. To the whole of Paris, Ambassador Ayodele Oke, a seasoned diplomat, is now the ambassador-designate to France. Colonel Latif Are, a military strategist, is the ambassador-designate to the United States of America, and Ambassador Amin Al-Hatu, previously served in South Korea, has been named the High Commissioner-designate to the United Kingdom. An analyst weighs in on these strategic postings.
We also know that it takes time for these ambassadors to get what you call the agreement, for countries to accept them, and then they present their letters before they become effective. This may also take another, couple of months. Better late than never. It doesn't matter whether your discipline does not matter here. But the governments on its own should also take Nigerians along. Let Nigerians feel the impact of governance.
So far, the president has directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to formally notify the governments of France, the United States, and the United Kingdom. It is well known that career ambassadors are professional diplomats who rose through the ranks of foreign service, while non-career ambassadors are typically political appointees selected for a specific reason or their expertise outside diplomacy. The fact remains, with this redeployment, diplomacy is set in motion and a new phase to protect and shape the nation's national interest abroad. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
The federal government has promised to support the Yakubu Gowon University, formerly known as University of Abuja, to uphold standards and align its operational capacity of impacting knowledge with global requirement. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, gave the assurance when he received the management of the university, led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Hakim Babatunde. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Assure you of the commitment of this ministry to help the University of Abuja or the Yakubu Gowon University wherever it is possible to do so.
To sustain the university's standard of impacting knowledge and boost human capital development, the newly created Faculty of Media and Communication, with more than 1,000 students, will be the first beneficiary of the ministry's wealth of knowledge and services.
Seasoned broadcasters and eminent media gurus like your good self will give us some form of institutional support to help us to thrive, especially now we are heading towards our accreditation.
And I assure you that we'll continue to serve you, we'll continue to make our doors open for you. And when it comes to the issue of facilities, let me assure you that we'll look at that and see how we can support this faculty to go.
Reforms in education, including the establishment of the International Media and Information Literacy Institute, are to strengthen institutional capacity as catchment areas to sanitize the nation's media ecosystem.
And in an age where you have disinformation and fake news all over the place, and again with the challenges of AI, there must be some capacity for people to discern what is good news and what is not, what is fake news and what is real, so that it will enhance people's capacity to really understand what is being churned out.
This collaboration is to seek support and encourage community service to raise the university's academic standard in line with global demand. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
In a similar development, the federal government has pledged to support agriculture and infrastructure development across universities nationwide as part of efforts to strengthen food security, reduce poverty and drive economic growth. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Aliu Abdullahi, who hosted a delegation from the Federal University of Education, Kontagora, said the ministry's intervention in tertiary institutions will focus on practical, hands-on agricultural training and profitable entrepreneurship capable of producing a new generation of agripreneurs. He said collaboration with universities will prioritize smart agriculture practices that deploy digital technology and data analytics to improve efficiency, profitability and sustainability. The minister also expressed concern over the decline in agriculture teachers, noting that the situation prompted the formation of the Young Farmers Club, YFC, a youth-focused initiative aimed at making agriculture attractive to young people through practical skills, modern techniques, and leadership development.
We are talking about agri-education. In fact, if there is anything we need in bigger quantity, it's agri-education. The mainstay of Nigerian economy is agriculture. 70% of our population are involved in agriculture, directly or indirectly. Yet, education or agri-education is being put at the sideline.
We need your support in the area of agricultural infrastructure that will position the university as a center of excellence in agricultural and food security education. Such support will significantly enhance our capacity to train competent teachers and graduates.
Kano State's Governor Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf has formally resigned his membership of the new Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), citing deepening internal crises and the need to safeguard the broader interest of the people of Kano State. This was contained in a statement signed by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofa. The governor, in a letter addressed to the chairman of Diso Charanchi Ward, NNPP, Gwale local government area, officially communicated his decision to withdraw from the party with immediate effect from Friday, 23rd January 2026. Stakeholders at the just concluded 14th National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development meeting held in Kwara State have adopted 62 actionable policies. The adoption, which came through a communique after several days of deliberations, focuses on achieving housing delivery. Housing correspondent Francis Udojo tells us more.
Achieving sustainable cities through effective land management, urban renewal, promotion of local building materials, and public-private partnerships in Nigeria being the theme for the National Council meeting, informed the adoption of the 62 actionable policies contained in the 14th National Council's communique at Ilorin. For the Minister of Housing, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, policy reform on land use and alternative housing financing will accelerate sustainable urban development, reduce housing gaps.
Imagine all the state governors can issue land easier, cheaper to all their state indigenous. They can always, with this title, with a good title, you can run into the Federal Mortgage Bank or any financial institutions, load the CFO with their designs and the costing. They will give you loan to build your own house incrementally and pay over a period of time. So, but with no title, how can you even get that loan?
The Council also announced a new unified housing delivery framework seeking collaboration between the federal and state governments, aiming to deliver housing at a larger scale. This collaboration, among others, involved the FMBN, FHA, and the Real Estate Investment Fund.
Over the past 6 years, our administration has executed bold measures to promote a more transparent and efficient land administration and management in the state.
The federal government, in its 2026 plan, prioritizes stronger coordination across these institutions. The next National Council meeting for year 2026 is slated for November. From Ilorin, Kwara State, Francis Udojo, NT News.
Now, the Renewed Hope administration's commitment to sustainable infrastructure development has continued to attract widespread commendations from key stakeholders in the road sector. The latest of such commendations came from the national media team on a tour of the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway Legacy Project in Sokoto State. Usman Zubairu has details.
The Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, spanning over 1,008 kilometers, is a transformative project set to revolutionize Nigerian transportation landscape, boosting trade, opening new economic corridors, and strengthening ties between the country's northern and southern regions. So far, significant progress has been recorded, starting with the kilometer 108 in Katem village. The construction company handling the project is working on reinforcing concrete pavements, in addition to the installation of solar street lights. In Kebbi State exit, over 135 kilometers artwork have been completed. Our construction work has achieved appreciable level. Project teams promise to ensure that the highway meets world-class standard.
I'm doing about 500 meters of stabilization per day. Then I'm doing prime as well with it. And then my CRCP, I'm just waiting for my second batch plan to start.
And we are always encouraging you to continue with the effort you are making to ensure that this project completed a stipulated period of time.
From this very project, we've gone far with artwork up to kilometer 135.
Part of the tour were the Commissioner of Emergency Repairs failed culverts in Sokoto and Kebbi states. Members of the media tour team explained that the initiative is designed to enable Nigerians through the media access federal government's intervention in the road sector. Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
And talking security now, troops of Operation Udwaka have cleared the Anjali forest in Enugu, described as a hibernating ground for the independent people of Biafra and the Eastern Security Network, terrorizing parts of the southeast. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa, on a media tour to the zone, has details.
This is Anjali Forest in Eziagu local government area, about 2 hours drive from Enugu, the state capital. The ungoverned space provided safe haven for IPOP and ESN members, terrorizing the area and truncating socioeconomic activities in parts of the southeast. In December 2025, troops of the 103 Battalion under Operation Udoka stormed the forest, destroying criminal camps and detonating IEDs.
A total of 8 camps were cleared and were able to neutralize and destroy the majority of their camps. About 197 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammo were recovered. We also arrested two of the IPOB members.
To enhance rapid response and easy access to the hibernating cells of the criminals, roads and routes are being provided.
We enjoyed the festive period. It was peaceful. There was no intimidation. There was no criminal attack. There were no kidnappings.
Continue to support the armed forces of Nigeria.
The general officer commanding 82 Division enjoined the residents of the area to see security as a collective responsibility.
Cyberspace has been very, very active, and we monitor it from time to time, and when necessary, we issue counter narratives also. It has been a major influence in the happenings in the southeast.
The Defense Media Operations Tour spanned to other parts of the country. From Ajale in Eziago local government area of Enugu State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And this is where we conclude the news at this time. Thank you so much for watching.